What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here with a review of sorts of the Salt and Pepper movie that came on Lifetime last night. I watched it. I didn't realize that shit was 3 hours long when I started. Because I was like, oh, Salt and Pepper come on tonight. So I turned on the Lifetime at 7 o'clock my time. And then I looked at the guide. I'm like, wait a minute, how long is this shit gonna be on? Then I looked at him like, oh, 3 hours. Then I was like, wow, why do we need 3 hours worth of a movie? I mean, 3 hours. Was it worth it? You be the judge. It was good. I just don't know if it was worth 3 hours. But you guys let me know if you guys thought was worth 3 hours. Now, before I get into this, I have one grievance, and then I just got two other things that I want to talk about with Lifetime before we start the review. So, throughout the movie, you guys know the commercial breaks. The first commercial break that caught my attention was this. It's not a biopic. It is a documentary about Whitney Houston and Bobby Christina Brown. And I am just over this. Like, Pat Houston, you raggedy ass woman. Will you please let those two women rest in peace? Like, seriously, let them rest in peace. What? Bobby Christina, she passed away in 2015. And Whitney Houston passed away in what? She passed away, actually, I know when she passed away 2012 because my grandmother passed away the next year. So, like, and then since Whitney's death and Bobby Christina's death, we've had movie after movie after movie after movie after movie. You had that fucking hologram that nobody wanted. Like, let your sister-in-law and your niece rest in peace. I get it. Hell, what is Pat Houston doing these days? I mean, don't you guys? I mean, you had that girl's money all wrapped up after even that reality show On Our Own on Lifetime. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did watch that show, and it was when I was watching, I'm like, this is terrible, because you could see that Bobby Christina wasn't. Her mom had just. I mean, Whitney had just died. And then y'all got these fucking cameras in this baby's face. And it was just terrible. That show was the worst. Because you could just see the grief all over that girl. But now here we are coming out with another documentary about these two. What are you telling us that we don't already know? And then I saw Lil Brandy from Love and Hip Hop on. I'm like, oh God. I just don't think I can stomach it. And then, since we're talking about what's coming to Lifetime, you guys know next Saturday is going to be the Wendy Williams biopic. Oh, Lifetime. I don't know if it was Lifetime or if it was Wendy, but whoever gave us that preview for the movie, why did it have to be that Halloween episode? Now, the Halloween episode was not funny when she passed out. But the reenactment by Sierra Payton, who plays Lily on The Oval on BET, oh my God. Our first caress. I died. I cracked up laughing because it was funny to me. It was funny. But again, like I said, in the instance when Wendy passed out, that wasn't funny. She sounded like Whitney. And I'm like, damn, what did they do with her titties? Like, I mean, because did they pad her and push them hoes up? Because I mean, they were just sitting like this. I mean, they were sitting up under her neck. I'm like, damn, can she breathe? But yeah, that's coming out next week. And then they have the movie with Danielle Brooks as Mahalia Jackson. Lifetime, don't fuck that one up. I know Danielle is a fantastic actress and a great singer, so I have high hopes for that one. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about the stuff that I just discussed in this first half of the video. But without further ado, let me go ahead and talk about the Salt and Pepper movie, what we came here for. Stick around. All right, you guys. Now, I don't know if this is actually going to be a review as it is going to be me going in a little bit on the movie. Like I said, overall the movie was a pretty good. I enjoyed it. I'd watch it. Actually, I did rewatch it this morning. I rewatched it. Really good. The casting was a little iffy, if you say so. If we gotta say so. Now the two young ladies that played Salt and Peppa. I know when you cast people, they don't have to look identical to the people. But the funny thing about the actresses that played Salt and Peppa, I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, okay, so there was this one scene where was his name Sweet Tooth? Yeah, Sweet Tooth, where nobody really knew what Salt and Peppa looked like. So they went to the club and there was a fake Salt and Pepper, not Peppa. There was a fake Salt and Pepper there. And then I looked at one of them, I looked at Pepper. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Egypt. And then I saw on Twitter where they said that was Egypt and Corinne. I'm like, well, damn. And you know, Corinne, if you looked at Corinne, she looks like her mother. So I'm like, why didn't they just get them to play their parents? I mean, I know in the Clark sisters, one of the girl, I mean, is it Kiara who played her mother? You guys correct me. But I mean, why didn't y'all get them to play? But again, the girls who played Salt and Peppa, they did a good job. I will give them that. Now, the young lady that played Peppa, to me, she looked to me like Kelly Rowland. Now I saw people saying, nah, she don't like Kelly Rowland, she like Jada Pinkett. Apples to oranges. To me, she looked like Kelly Rowland. The next thing that caught my attention, the wigs. More specifically, Peppa's wigs. Then I saw a commercial break where after the movie they would be talking to Salt and Peppa. I'm like, oh, they must have borrowed one of Pep's current wigs, because her current wig that she was wearing when her and Cheryl was when her and Cheryl were talking, it was ill fitted. It was no part. I'm like, oh, okay. So Cheryl just donated some of her wigs. I mean, Sandy just donated some of her wigs. Gotcha, Pep. Gotcha. The one thing that I did learn that I didn't know, was that Kid and Play, Sandy and Cheryl, and Martin all worked at a Sears call center. Now, the problem that I have with them, again, the wigs, like Kid and Play's wig, like the wigs, the high top, you could see right here where the wig came over the forehead, and I'm like, why is the wig not back here? And then it's just dry and raggedy. And then the Martin that they got, why was he fat? In the 80s, in 85, Martin was not fat. He was a skinny nigga. Martin didn't get fat until recent years. So I was confused by that. The accents, the Jamaican accent, the Haitian accents, and the New York accents, atrocious. Atrocious as the fuck. I mean, just terrible. Now, here's the first thing that we're going to talk about with Cheryl. I don't know why Cheryl felt it was a good thing to go. I mean, you worked with him at Sears, and then you did music with him. I don't work with people that I sleep with. I don't work with people in my family. I just can't do it. I don't know why Cheryl insisted on working with Herbie. Wouldn't have been me, man. Would not have been me. All right, you guys. So I'm going to take a little... We're going to pause here, and we're going to keep pushing. All right, you guys. So next, let's talk about Herbie. Herbie was a true fuckboy in a sense of fuckboys. So I don't know how the fuck Cheryl just did not see this. And even when she got a sign of it, she still stayed. I'm like, girl, you really got to be dickmatized. So I know there was that one scene where it was a scene where they were at the movie premiere. That LL Cool J. I'm not even gonna say anything about LL Cool J. We're just gonna leave it at that. Now that big dude, when they went to the high school, was he supposed to be Dougie Fresh? I'm gonna leave that alone too. But at the premiere of the movie, I'm just gonna guess that Cheryl just was not paying that much attention that Herbie was flirting with that little, was she Asian? He was flirting with her, and I'm like, you just don't see that? Cool. Maybe we don't see it. Maybe we don't see it. Um, now let's backtrack just a little bit. So that scene when Herbie was taking Sandy and Cheryl to the club to perform. Now the bouncer was like, Salt and Pepper's already in there. He was like, no, Salt and Pepper is right here. He was like, no, they in there. And then when Herbie went into the club and saw Egypt and Corinne, the fake Salt and Pepper, he told everybody on the stage. He jumped on the stage and told them that they want Salt and Pepper. And then Sweet Tooth sent his dudes after him. Now, I'm not laughing at the scene about, I'm not laughing at this. I just thought it just caught me off guard. So, Herbie jetted out of there. He got out of there. He ran. But Sweet Tooth's dudes following behind him. And Cheryl comes up, and I'm like, girl, your man is getting his ass beat. I would just let him get his ass beat. And once he gets his ass beat, get him up off the ground, exit stage left. Nope. Cheryl decided she had some big ass balls that day and said, I'm from Brooklyn. I can beat all y'all asses. And that man said, pop, just punched on the face. I'm like, oh, I'm like, damn. He ain't got no respect for a woman. I mean, you just deck a woman in the fucking face? Okay. Now, speaking of that, because after that scene, that's when, Herbie introduced us to Spinderella. Well, the first DJ, which I did not know that there were two Spinderellas. So thank you to the, everybody who wants to correct people on social media. Now, one person corrected me on social media. She was laughing. But everybody else was like, here go the people who don't know that there were two Spinderellas. Well, I'm sorry, my love. I'm only 31 years old. This is 1985. I was like 3 when I first heard of Salt and Pepper. I was a little bitty boy, so I did not know the ins and outs of the group. So, go to hell. But the dude who played Herbie, did he also play his brother? Because it was so interesting. Because anytime that he was in, I think he was playing both characters. Because anytime Herbie and Steve were in the same scene, Steve would be like this. You would never see his face until the camera panned on him. Yeah, it was a stunt double. It was a double. Okay, answer my own question. He played both roles. Now here's another question that I have. Did they get the clearance to play the music? That's all I want to know is did they get the clearance to play the music? Because now when they did the diss song, they did the first song, the diss song, I didn't pay any attention to it. I didn't pay any attention until we got to Push It. I'm like, wait a minute. That is not Push. I mean, that is Push It, but that's not the original version of Push It. Because somebody was like, because I tweeted it, I'm like, did they get the music cleared? And somebody was like, well, all I hear is the music. I'm like, I'm not saying I'm not saying that. I said, what I'm saying is that's not the original versions of the song. Because if you listen throughout the rest of the movie, if you listen to that, it was Push It and it was Shoot for me. Because I know those songs, especially Shoot, because I have satellite radio in my car and I listen to Sirius Fly on XM47. And it plays music from the 90s and the 2000s, and they play Shoop quite often. So so sometimes I get in my car, I do hear Shoop, and I'm like, that's not the original version. And if you guys listen to it, especially Push It, that version of Push It was a lot lower than what it actually is. I'm like, wait a minute, they sound like two niggas, no shade, but they just sound like two dudes rapping. So yeah, that was my question about that. Was that them? Did they get the clearance for the movie? All right, you guys, let's stop here and move forward. All right, you guys. let's see, where do I want to go now? Spinderella. This is gonna be a tangent because I don't even have it in my notes. So we found out about the first Spinderella. They fired her. Now I saw some stuff on Twitter and social media that they actually fired her first Spinderella because Cheryl thought that Spinderella was sleeping with Herbie. Girl, Herbie was for everybody. Herbie was for everybody. I don't know how true that is, so that's going to be allegedly. I don't know that to be true. But when they brought in the Spinderella that we know to this day, they literally paid her dust. And I didn't appreciate that. I know that currently Salt and Pepa and Spinderella, they have issues with each other. And if you guys remember that show that they had on BET in 2018, Ladies Night, when it was them with SWV and they were doing the tour, they excluded her from their tour, which I thought was fucked up as well. I really thought that was fucked up when they excluded her from their tour. It's like when you think about Salt and Pepa, you do think about Spinderella. Now, I get it that in the early days, when they first started, she wasn't around. But when y'all got to the height of y'all career, she was there, and y'all are really paying this woman dust. And it's really fucked up to me. Again, I don't give a fuck what issues Cheryl and Sandy have with her. She was still a pivotal point of y'all. She was part of y'all's group. People know Spinderella because of Salt and Pepa. So I don't like the way that they doing her. I really don't. I think this is fucked up. I really do. Child, I wonder if she'll do like what Michelle A did, surviving Salt and Pepa. But yeah, I mean, I just really I didn't rock with that. I didn't feel that. I wasn't featuring that. Because it's like, damn, this woman is part of she's part of your history. Why exclude her? Like, I mean, they literally paid her fucking dust. And just paid her dust. So then throughout the rest of the movie, what happened? Again, Cheryl, girl, when that side chick called and told you to change the sheets, you just went back down and sat next to Herbie as if you didn't hear nothing. He was like, oh, what was that? Wrong number. Wrong number? Nah. She said wrong number. Nah. I would have been upside his head. Just whopping his ass. The fuck? A woman just called you. Well, technically she was calling for him. But she knows who you are. That's the worst part. The helper knows who you are. Then she tells you might want to check the sheets. And the sad part is that wasn't the breaking point for Cheryl and Herbie. That wasn't the breaking point for those two. I was like, wow. The breaking point was when she was holding his baby that the other side chick let her hold. I'm like, wait a minute. So this was the breaking point? Really? Okay. We see her struggle with her doing a career and her Christianity. I ain't got nothing to say about Cheryl. The one thing that I will say that caught me off guard was her bulimia. The first time I saw her throwing up, I'm like, oh, she's pregnant. Then I kept seeing it. I'm like, damn. Morning sickness don't last that long. Actually, it was after she had Corinne. I'm like, wait a minute. Nah, baby, that ain't. And then when she was at that hotel, when she ordered all that food, and I'm like, oh, y'all could have really warned me about this. That is nasty. I'm not being shady, I'm not trying to be mean, rude, or disrespectful to anybody that has an eating disorder. But I'm just not somebody that, oh God, when it comes to throw up, I even hate throwing up. When I throw up, I'm like, oh God, it makes me even sicker when I throw up. Cause I've thrown up in my bed. I've thrown up in my bed. I've thrown up on my floor, and then I have to clean it up. That is just the worst. I hope whenever I throw up, I'm like, can I please get to the bathroom and just get to this toilet? And as soon as I throw up in the toilet, it flushes. Ugh. But I mean, she had an eating disorder, so I'm not gonna attack that. It was just the throwing up. I'm like, y'all could have at least gave a trigger warning. Cause I mean, I really didn't want to see that. What else is in my notes? Herbie, when they got that record deal, did they get $14,000? How the fuck y'all gonna? I mean, y'all gotta split that how many ways? And y'all acting like it's a lot of money. It wasn't. Well, maybe in the 80s and the 90s it would. Nah, even then it couldn't have been that much money. Cause y'all still gotta split that shit. So y'all really ain't got that much money. But then even then he wanted to jip Sandy. I'm like, well, damn. He just had it out for Sandy. He kept calling her ghetto, which I didn't like that. What else about it? What else? What else do we want to talk about? Because I'm picturing the movie, you guys, so that's what's going on. Yeah, Herbie was conning the fuck out of them. What else? Let's see what else my notes say. And we probably gonna get ready to wrap it up. Okay, let's talk about Gavin. Now, the gentleman who played Gavin, he looks like Lawrence Fishburne. So if they ever do a movie about Lawrence Fishburne, he should play him. I mean, the gap and all. Great. He would be great for Lawrence Fishburne. We saw Pep when she got pregnant with Tyran, his daddy, wasn't really here for it. We saw her relationship with Tretch, and how abusive he was. There's one thing that I want to talk about. They didn't film this shit. They filmed this shit on a set, cause that scene when Pepa told Tyran's daddy that she was pregnant with him. The whole time I was just looking at that background. I'm like, that is not New York. Like, you can really tell that that's not New York. It was terrible. What else do I want to talk about? The lawsuit that they had to get away from Herbie. Y'all did all that for your next album to tank. And then Sandy, not Sandy, but Cheryl tried to do her solo album. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I think that's about it that I want to discuss. I can't think of anything else. Right now. But yeah, you guys, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Like I said, I'd watch it again. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie. Did you guys like it? Did you guys like it or not? How did you guys feel about it being 3 hours? What was your good, your bad, your ugly? Those wigs were ugly. So yeah, you guys, be sure to comment in the comment section below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share, and I'll see you guys later on tonight for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Stay safe, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Socially distance. And also, you guys, drop down in the description bar. Go over to the Planner channel. Subscribe to it. I am putting a video up, hopefully sometime this week. I need to order some stickers. But yeah, you guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.